Jumanji The Animated Series was released in 1996, containing 3 seasons and 40 episodes. The show followed the hit film that was released just a year prior. Being a big fan of Robin Williams and the Jumanji movie, at first glance, I was hesitant of the Jumanji cartoon. But after watching about 5 minutes of the episode titled The Price, I fell instantly in love with the show. And it has since become not only one of my favorite animated shows of all time, but also my favorite depiction of Jumanji ever. Every episode is filled with great writing, characters, and adventure. One of the big differences between the film and the show is that in the cartoon, Judy and Peter go into Jumanji where Alan is stuck, with a lot of added characters you don't see in the movie, like Slick, Ibsen, and many more. Today I'm going to be looking into my top 10 personal favorite episodes of this classic but overlooked 90s animated series. So let's get this thing started.
Without the dice, your turn can end. Just ride the sun around the bend.
In this season 1 episode, Alan puts Peter's life on the line to solve Judy and Peter's clue.
Speak to me, Peter.
This makes Judy upset with Alan, and it's understandable. Alan did carelessly put Peter's life on the line, and a true friend would never do that. But Alan responds by showing he does care.
Sorry, Peter, but there won't be a next time. Judy's right. It's just too dangerous.
The two find their way back into Jumanji by making the game mad. And in return, Jumanji turns Peter into an animal again.
And I didn't even get turned into an animal.
It's Jumanji's way of torturing Peter. We also get to see Jumanji's con man, Trader Slick, leading Peter and Judy to the Bog of Despair.
The Bog of Despair?
Anytime Slick shows up, I know it's going to be a great episode. And for Alan, well, he has the Grim Reaper on his trail trying to kill him to take the dice to restore balance into Jumanji. No Dice is a great first season episode, and the first to really show how much Peter and Judy are starting to mean to Alan, and vice versa. The episode ends with Alan feeling pretty confident about things.
We'll beat this game yet!
Or will they?
The grass looks greener across the river wide. A simple stick leads to the other side.
Robo Peter is a Ibsen episode, the mad scientist of Jumanji.
It has always been my intention to make Jumanji a more pleasant place.
After getting in trouble with Aunt Nora for not doing his homework, Peter enters Jumanji without Judy. He instantly gets saved by Alan, who has a different look in his eyes. Peter decides to ignore solving his clue and follows Alan to Ibsen's lab. And if Alan's eyes weren't weird enough, Alan now seems to be Ibsen's friend.
That's the old Ibsen, Petey. The guy's changed.
With some persuasion, Alan and Ibsen talk Peter into staying in Jumanji and sending Robo Peter back to Branford in his place.
Wow!
Ibsen's plan is to have Robo Peter lure people into the game, trapping them forever, and replacing them with robot versions of themselves, till all Earth is populated with Ibsen's robot creations.
Robo-Peter will soon lure more children into Jumanji to provide the jungle with new victims.
It's now up to Judy, who has become suspicious of Robo Peter for doing everything perfectly. She tricks him into dropping the dice, and the two of them get sucked into Jumanji, where Judy, Peter, and Alan put a stop to this mad scientist.
You have not heard the last of me.
Robo Peter is a fun second season episode, and with today's technology, this one scares me a little. We might not be that far off from something like this becoming a reality. That's why this episode is so good and has great writing. And what's a Jumanji top 10 list without an Ibsen episode?
Release the thing you most adore. It comes back closer than before.
Judy and Peter head into Jumanji to celebrate Alan's birthday.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. I've always wanted one.
The only problem is the pocket knife Peter gave Alan was actually his and Judy's father's, and now belongs to Judy.
It's just that, well, that pocket knife, it was my dad's.
Right at this emotional moment, Alan realizes he has a centipede bite that will lead to his death.
There must be an antidote or some way we can stop it.
I don't know.
Now that Alan is headed for Jumanji grave, the Grim Reaper sends Jumanji's biggest villains, Van Pelt, Slick, and Ibsen, to kill Alan, Judy, and Peter to protect Jumanji. So it's up to Judy and Peter to find a cure and save Alan's life. But before they even get started, Peter lies to the game and gets turned into a frog. The gift is a special episode. It's Alan's birthday, and we get to see the three biggest Jumanji villains all working together.
We were told to make sure both children are eliminated.
I like that we get to see the Grim Reaper once again. The character sadly went away as the series went on. My favorite part of the episode is when they put Alan in a magic pool that shows his dreams in the water.
It's Alan when he was my age.
Of course they find a cure for Alan, and it ends with a great moment. Judy had learned from seeing Alan's dreams in the magic pool that Alan considers Judy and Peter family. This touched Judy's heart, and she realizes Alan is family. So Judy decides to give Alan the pocket knife.
Really,
Like I said, it belongs in the family.
So all is good for Alan in Jumanji. Or is it?
Solving problems is a game. The highest point should be your aim.
In this episode, Judy, Alan, and Peter play a Jumanji-like Branford board game. Judy is struggling in math, and this is unusual because her nickname is the Brain Queen.
It was just a stupid math problem. It's not like algebra has anything to do with real life.
After entering Jumanji, Alan takes Judy and Peter to the ancient temple of the ski wands.
What happened to them?
legend has it they found a way out of Jumanji.
When they arrive at the temple, they get attacked, and the three of them narrowly escape, which leads them to a secret passageway. This is where they find the Branford board game.
It's us.
Cool beans!
Ellen, Judy, and Peter quickly set out to solve their clue, and it all ends up being connected to Judy having problems in math. To solve their clue, they must use brain power, facing off against an Ibsen version of Judy's teacher, who has them captured in a deadly trap, where solving a math problem is their only way to solve their clue.
You did it, Jude! The Brain Queen is back!
Yeah! And we've got her!
This part is done well and has a haunting feeling to it. I have to say, it's my favorite part of the episode. I like the idea of a Jumanji style Branford board game. Plus, we get to see a ginormous dog, giant roaches, faucets turning on by themselves with green acid pouring out, animals coming out of books, and an Officer Bentley version of Van Pelt. And all of this adds up to a pretty awesome episode.
Though worlds apart, friendship's your guide. When all seems hopeless, toss it inside.
Something strange is happening in Jumanji. Every bad guy is at Trader Slick's place. Ellen, Judy, and Peter get in disguise to find out what's going on. They learn that Slick is auctioning off an item called the Transvector of Jumanji.
The transvector creates a 5-second gateway into a nightmare world.
Alan tries to take off with the Transvector, but is unsuccessful and gets sucked into the portal by Van Pelt, putting Alan into the nightmare world.
I never thought any place could make me homesick for Jumanji.
Ibsen steals the Transvector and sets out to destroy it, to save all his creations in Jumanji from being sucked into the nightmare world. He quickly loses it and has to team up with Judy and Peter to get it back. Yeah, that's right. Judy and Peter are teaming up with Ibsen to save Alan. This is some pretty intense stuff happening here.
Vehicle's losing velocity.
In that case,
The Ultimate Weapon is a favorite episode for a lot of reasons. Seeing all the villains in one spot, even if technically it's not all the bad guys in Jumanji, it's still cool. I like seeing some of the more rare ones, like the black and red ants from the Red and Black, Queen Gina from the Perfect Match, and even the Sand King from the Magic Chest. Also, the whole concept of the nightmare world is something I like. And it's done really well. Seeing Judy and Peter team up with Ibsen is fun to watch. Something about the villain teaming up with the good guys I find entertaining, even if you know in the end Ibsen will be back to his old evil ways.
But not before I expel every one of you into a world where nightmares never end.
failure looms, but who's to blame? Set it right or repeat the game.
After entering Jumanji, Judy and Peter watch Alan get killed by getting hit by a bolt of lightning. This is when Trader Slick just appears out of nowhere and offers Judy and Peter the Chrono Repeater, an object that repeats time. The two accept and head back in time to save Alan. Judy and Peter make sure Alan is safe from being hit by the bolt of lightning in the crow's nest, only for him to be hit by lightning somewhere else. They do this over and over again, each time saving Alan from all the things that killed him the times before.
Whoa, freaky! You guys are like...
Fortune tellers, yeah, we know.
Only to have something different kill him each time. Feeling frustrated, Judy and Peter start to fight, and in the process, the Chrono Repeater gets broken, leaving them only one last chance to save Alan. Stormy Weather is a very exciting episode, and by far my favorite of the first season. It has that Groundhog Day repeating time thing going on, but this is done by choice to save Alan's life. And each time you sit in wonder and anticipation to see the next way Alan will die. Or if Judy and Peter will finally be able to beat the cycle of Alan being put to his death.
Power and evil are ancient lore, Your only escape lies with the one before.
Aunt Nora is having a rummage sale and has sold Jumanji to the neighborhood grouch, Miss Desmona. Judy and Peter, of course, run over to Miss Desmona's house immediately. But when they arrive, she lies about having the game. And just when they were about to walk away, they hear her being sucked into Jumanji. With the help of Alan, Judy and Peter save Miss Desmona from the dangers of Jumanji. To solve their clue, Judy and Peter must solve Miss Desmona's first.
Leave it to Jumanji to make you help somebody who doesn't even want your help.
She ends up ditching them and steals a spell book from Trader Slick called The Tome of Jumanji.
I'll take it.
Now that Miss Desmona has the spell book, she becomes the Sorceress of Jumanji. She then kidnaps Peter to become her apprentice. Alan and Judy head to the castle of the sorceress to save Peter and turn Miss Desmona back to normal. But this will be no easy task. Sorceress of Jumanji is the 34th episode of the series. And with a mean old lady with a scary house, sorcery, a shrunken witch doctor, a creepy old castle, this Jumanji episode has some gloomy, intense moments. And we get to see Judy turn into a sorceress, which is pretty awesome.
It's time for you to solve your clue or you're gonna make me angry!
And now it's time for... Did you know? Did you know that Bill Fagerbakke was the voice behind Alan Parrish in the Jumanji Animated Series? He would also voice Broadway in the Disney animated show Gargoyles, and Patrick on the hit Nickelodeon series SpongeBob SquarePants. Bill would also appear on many other animated shows for just an episode or two, from All Real Monsters, Wild Thornberrys, Batman Beyond, Timon and Pumbaa, and the list goes on and on. Bill was gifted with a very unique, recognizable voice. But this voice actor/actor is not just great behind the mic, he's also extremely funny in front of the camera. Starring in the hit 90s sitcom Coach for 9 seasons, playing the hysterically funny Michael Dobber-Dubinsky.
This'll cut down on your electricity!
Who is the fool and who is wise? Beyond shifting sands, the answer lies.
Judy and Peter enter Jumanji, where Alan is riding around inside a giant robot dinosaur that he has called Gracie, after the dog he had when he was a kid. To solve Judy and Peter's clue, the three of them must cross the great desert of Jumanji. There's only one problem.
Not so, Nizzer. Nobody's ever been able to cross the great desert of Jumanji.
But Alan has faith that with the help of Gracie, they can make it. So the three of them set out, but it's not long until Gracie runs out of gas, leaving Alan, Judy, and Peter stranded in the middle of the desert. They continue on foot, leading them to an oasis where suddenly a loud voice appears, speaking in riddles.
Don't you see? The end of the game! The final test!
The master of the game is a riddle-filled Jumanji ride like no other. Alan, Judy, and Peter solve each riddle, leading them to follow a path through a dark, creepy forest and a giant Jumanji-style maze.
We could just figure out this stupid maze.
Solving the maze puts him at what appears to be a gateway to Branford, but it turns out to be just an illusion.
What are you trying to do to us? There's gotta be a way to get through.
Ellen, Judy, and Peter start to follow the voice, where they find someone called Master of the Game, who turned out to be someone who has been trapped in Jumanji just like Alan since they were a child.
What happened?
His clue. He solved it.
Solving his clue gives Alan hope that he will be able to do the same one day. This is a masterpiece of a Jumanji episode in every way possible.
An act of kindness where there is no light will help to save you from your plight.
After arriving in Jumanji, Judy, Peter, and Alan are chased by a lion and run into a cave. That's where they find the Jumanji Crystal of Reflection.
Hey, this crystal might have something to do with our clue.
The crystal contains a record of everything that has happened in Jumanji past. And by touching the crystal, Ellen, Judy, and Peter start to see some of their previous adventures in reverse order.
I remember this. We can beat these things. They're just illusions.
They quickly realize if they go back far enough, they will see Alan entering Jumanji and find his clue, and he would be out of Jumanji once and for all. But just when everything is starting to look good, this happens. And wait, that's not all.
Company, let's move!
So Ellen, Judy, and Peter take the crystal and continue to watch their previous times in Jumanji, on the run from the lion and a giant toad. Goodbye, Jumanji is the 40th and last episode of the Jumanji Animated Series, and I feel it is a perfect ending to the show. The idea of the reflecting crystal being the way that Alan is able to solve his clue, which gives the audience a chance to look back at amazing clips of great episodes that they went through with these characters, while Alan, Judy, and Peter are running through the usual type of dangers of Jumanji.
And so's that lion.
It's just amazing. And you get to see Alan finally solve his clue, which gives you a little sadness. Because you know this will be Judy and Peter's last Jumanji adventure. But mostly it leaves you feeling happy and satisfied. I know I always had my fingers crossed through the series, hoping it would end with Alan finally getting his freedom.
No more Jumanji, no more Jumanji, no more Jumanji.
No past, no future. We know it's true. And yet the present makes you blue?
In this Jumanji episode, Judy and Peter enter Jumanji wondering if Ibsen is still the giant toad that they turned him into the previous time.
Wait till you taste eternity.
Ibsen!
Yup, still a toad.
Ibsen plans to undo this by sending Peter and Judy way into the past, where he can eliminate them well before they turn him into a frog. So Ibsen sends Judy and Peter down the river backwards through time. As they head down the river, they start to see clips of themselves in Jumanji past, going in reverse order. And let's just say it's freaking awesome. Over 20 years into Jumanji past, Judy and Peter meet a young boy running from a lion. They decide to help the boy and teach him the skills to survive in Jumanji, in the same way that Alan taught them. Judy and Peter finally learn that the boy that they've been helping is actually Alan Parrish himself.
Could be a trick, Jude. Maybe he's not the real Alan Parrish.
Hey, I am too the real Alan Parrish.
This makes me wonder how Alan survived when he originally entered Jumanji without Judy and Peter's help. But that question is quickly answered after saving Judy and Peter's life and helping them back into the future. You see, Alan had it in him the whole time. So that leaves the question, what happened to Ibsen? Well, he decided to make a deal with Trader Slick. And we all know what making a deal with Trader Slick looks like. Young Alan is a special Jumanji episode that includes time travel, which anything with time travel, and I'm 100% in. And there's something really entertaining about watching Judy and Peter in the past with a 10-year-old Alan. It makes you realize how much Judy and Peter have grown in their time in Jumanji.
Is that bad? Well, yeah. Jumanji's evil and wants to kill you.
And how much Alan will come to learn when it comes to surviving in Jumanji. I have to rate young Alan as a perfect Jumanji episode with no flaws. And my number one Jumanji episode of all time. I'm Hey There Nostalgic Dom. And when it comes to Jumanji The Animated Series, I'm game every time. But for now it's...
Game over. Let's burn it.
Or bury it.